By David Eggert, Mich, Householder and Amy Forliti. Associated Press. Grand Rapids, Michigan. The Reverend Al Sharpton demanded that authorities publicly identify the Michigan officer who killed Patrick Lyoya, a black man and native of Congo who was fatally shot in the back of the head after a struggle, saying at Lyoya's funeral Friday, "We want his name." Sharpton's comments renewed calls made by Lyoya's family members and activists. He told the roughly 1,000 people gathered at Lyoya's funeral that authorities cannot set a precedent of withholding the names of officers who kill people. Police in Grand Rapids have said they would withhold the name of the officer who shot Lyoya unless he is charged with a crime. Every time a young black man or woman is arrested in this town, you put their name all over the news. Every time we're suspected of something, you put our name out there, Sharpton said. How dare you hold the name of a man that killed this man? We want his name. Mourners at the Renaissance Church of God in Christ, many of whom were wearing t-shirts or sweatshirts bearing Lyoya's picture, stood in applause. Sharpton noted that Lyoya was killed on April 4, the anniversary of the 1968 assassination of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., putting Lyoya's death in context with the national civil rights movement. He said Lyoya came to America in search of a better life and ran into an America that we know too well. He urged those gathered to continue to fight for justice, and called for a federal investigation into Lyoya's killing. We can't bring Patrick back, but we can bring justice in Patrick's name, he said. Sharpton and civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is representing the Lyoya family, have frequently joined with mourners to speak at the funerals of black people killed by police. Sharpton's eulogies have included those for George Floyd, whose death in Minneapolis sparked a national reckoning on race, Daunte Wright, who was shot during a traffic stop in suburban Minneapolis, Andre Hill, who was killed in Columbus, Ohio, and Andrew Brown Jr., who was killed in North Carolina. Crump also called for justice on Friday, saying an unnamed police officer escalated a simple misdemeanor traffic stop into a deadly execution. He said the issue is one of humanity, and he called on federal lawmakers to pass nationwide reforms aimed at curbing systemic racism in policing. World leaders can't condemn Russian soldiers shooting unarmed citizens in the back of the head in Ukraine, but then refuse to condemn police officers'